N'golo Kante is genuinely football's Mr. Nice Guy. 33-year-old French footballer wears a big smile on his face all the time, maintains this shy demeanor. He doesn't poke his noses into anybody's trouble, and neither does he even go anywhere to cause any trouble. But as time has played out, people with the brightest of smiles tend to have something dark about them they are trying to hide. And we think we may have just uncovered what N'golo Kante's dark side is. You already know that N'golo Kante is a very private footballer. In fact, Kante comes in the news only when it is match day. Even in this modern era where the relationship and personal lives of global football stars and athletes have become regular social media content, Kante still manages to hide his stuff. How? Because he is never making a post about his vacation with his wife and children to Ibiza or Santorini. It's actually presumptuous to even think Kante goes to such places on holidays ever at all. Makes you wonder, does the French man even have a wife or children? Well, Kante definitely has a wife and children for sure. But here is the big announcement. Nobody really knows when Kante met his wife, 49-year-old Jude Littler. But what we do know is, of all the 4 children the two are parenting, none of them is biologically Kante's. The former Chelsea and current Al Ittihad star has been spending his hard-earned millions on another man's family all these years. And this is definitely not what any football lover would have possibly predicted for football's Mr. Nice Guy, N'golo Kante. But again, that is not the only juice from this Kante story, as an inside scoop reveals that Kante's wife, Jude Littler, is a 48-year-old British businesswoman and former reality TV star, a TV star who apparently shuns away from the media. They say, make it make sense. All the same, it just feels like classic Kante style that the 2018 France World Cup champion has successfully concealed this important part of his life away from the cameras, right? And to think Kante has got for himself a wife who is not so much a social media person herself. They make the perfect couple too, don't you think? But nah, not so fast. What if I told you that the Kante-Littler union is actually a strange one and probably should not have happened in the first place? What if I told you that Kante fathering 4 kids that are all not his isn't really a case of Kante having a big heart, but one really about him not being able to actually sire his own kind? Listen, for starters, Kante's wife, Jude Littler, is 16 years older than the Al Ittihad midfielder. And if you thought Kante marrying a woman whom he is 16 years younger than was out of place, wait till I tell you that Kante's wife, Jude Littler, is in fact the divorcee wife of ex-France and Liverpool striker Djibril Cissé. Sounds unbelievable, eh? That is what I am thinking too, but it is true. Here is a little background story. Djibril Cissé and Jude Littler legally married in June 2005, and after 9 years of living together as husband and wife, the two separated in 2014, mind you. Kante left France for England a year later, which is 2015 at Leicester. Djibril Cissé, Littler birthed 3 children, Cassius, Prince Kobe, and Marley Jackson. That leaves us with one more child whose father we ought to identify, because earlier, we said Jude Littler and Kante have 4 children, remember? Okay, just so you know, Djibril Cissé wasn't Littler's first love. Before Cissé met Littler, she was with another man, an apparent nobody compared to Littler's next set of men. They had 1 child, Littler's first child. But soon, football money came calling, and for a TV star herself, Littler could not resist. Long story short, she hooked up with Djibril Cissé, and that is how they got married and later divorced when Sis was kind of out of the system. Back to Mr. Kante, the lover boy. Let me guess, should you have Googled Kante's wife and children on the internet and the results came back as no results found, I bet you would have digested that way easier than all these that I am telling you now, right? I can understand. That said, this interesting revelation about Kante's private life brings us to 2 simple conclusions about the celebrated midfielder: that either his mouth is as blunt as the old cutlass, or he were simply impotent, apparently like the African giant, Burna Boy. Listen, do not get me wrong. It is not like any of us really expect the general himself to be some kind of a playboy or a riz god. But come on, a fellow footballer's ex-partner who is 16 years older than him. Really, just a little concerned here that for someone who has taken a wife, that is clear indication that, obviously, Kante loves women. And if he wanted to start and grow a family, he could have equally done so with somebody younger, somebody more his age, or... What could have stopped him? Probably shyness. But surely money would have solved that. What there again? Unless, maybe he could not have done so because he could not woo younger women, but that one too, money would have done the trick, or even a dating site. So why? Everything points back to his natural incapability to raise his own family. You see, with a younger partner, Kante would have needed to do the do to bring forth children, or possibly adopt children, right? But adopting a child would have easily and quickly brought his dark secret out that he was indeed impotent, a gamble he could not afford. And so, it looks like a 49-year-old self, accomplished almost menopausal mother of 4 Jude Littler, was thus Kante's best bet. Again, with Kante, I understand those who say we do not choose whom we love. Well, a shy Kante may not have actively made the decision, but we know by track record that Jude Littler has, in fact, been choosing her lovers over the years. Jude Littler has this principle where she targets only younger footballers. Do you know that shortly after separating from Djibril Cissé in 2014, Littler had a fling with Armenian football sensation Henrik Mkhitaryan, who had then just signed for Manchester United? And it is believed that right after the Mkhitaryan affair was when Littler and Kante became a thing. When you look at all of these 3 Littler men, Cissé, 7 years younger than Littler, Mkhitaryan, 13 years younger than Littler, and now Kante, 16 years younger than Littler, the pattern is thus crystal clear with regards to Littler's play. But if Kante were to also have a fling, that wouldn't have been a major issue. Because usually, footballers do this thing where they share particular partners within different moments in their career. But why is it that Kante, rather, has decided to settle? That is the major concern here. Don't get me wrong, yes, it is true Kante has got great company in terms of famous footballers who have settled with wives or dated girls older than them. But I mean, look at the list. Zlatan Ibrahimovic and his 53-year-old Swedish businesswoman wife, Helen Sager, David De Gea and his partner, Edun Garcia, Lionel Messi and Antonella, Mauro Icardi and Wanda Nara amongst them. And with these aforementioned partners, you can notice that there is a clear pattern here. It is either the player and his partner were childhood lovers, or they had known each other for long enough. Let me throw Ibrahimovic and Sager into the mix. The two met as far back as 22 years ago and have been together since. Next, David De Gea and Edun Garcia. Though the couple started dating officially in 2015, they met long ago when De Gea was only a young man in Atletico Madrid. Then, you have Messi and Antonella, who have been lovers since childhood. Even for the notorious couple, Icardi and Wanda Nara, the two knew each other long when Icardi was teammates and roommates with Wanda Nara's ex, Maxi Lopez. So, there you have it with all these compounding examples. But with Kante and Littler, tell you for a fact that those two literally have no history. In fact, nobody actually knows when the two started dating or even got married. All everybody ever knows is that the two have been a thing since Kante's Chelsea days. Weird. One more thing. I know Kante is a sworn believer of Islam, and that there always remains the possibility that he takes another wife along the way. Fairs. Perhaps he knows what he is doing, and he may one day exercise that option. Fingers crossed. But as a concerned fan of Kante's, I still think Kante is treading on hot waters, going in for a sophisticated woman as Jude Littler. I mean, Jude Littler is already way too much above Kante's class, in all honesty. For a man who literally shies himself to his pants when talking to everyone, and especially girls, Hardly would anyone have expected him meddling in the affairs of a well-exposed woman like Littler. Usually, these stories have no happy endings, no matter who is involved. Then again, if not for some dark secret he has been aiming to hide, why would Kante desperately just jump off with the very first known woman that came his way? Even in his present age of 33 years, a shy Kante is even too young to be married in my opinion. For someone with no known history of past relationships and love interests, Jude Littler happens to be his first serious woman. Could you imagine? And just how desperate and careless can you be that you settle down with your first women, especially in an era where footballers are getting exploited by opportunistic women every now and then? Oh, Kante. But on the other side, I honestly do wish both of them well. They should be commended for how private they have been able to keep this affair of theirs. Perhaps this has always been what they have been trying to avoid. The think pieces, proofs, the plenty of questions and all that. But a famous footballer who cannot even take her wife and children out for football award ceremonies and shows. What are you trying to hide, N'golo Kante?